Hello everybody, and today we are doing our 6th tutorial, which will be switch statements. Now I'm going to make the directory for it. In previous ones I have made it beforehand, but now I'm doing it after. So deal with it! So we're just going to set up our basic thing. I know in the last tutorial I didn't create a function or anything, but to be honest, to explain the basic concept, it wasn't particularly necessary. Whereas this one, I think it would be a lot more useful. Now, obviously I've declared a function up the top. By the way, this is necessary if I didn't explain that already in the functions tutorial, which I think I did. So what we're going to do is we're going to declare our user input. I'm going to call it user input this time instead of banana, and we're going to ask our user for output, so we'll favour it. So one thing I want to say is that the next video after this will be, in fact, sod that, I have a better idea. I'm going to explain at the end of this video your task that you are going to produce. And what you can do is don't send me the executable because I won't run it. Send me the code. Send me the code at my email address, which is gigaraptorrammer@gmail.com. I shall place that in the description, I think. So what we're going to do here is we're going to call our function code. And the reason I call it that is because it's going to return a code based on the user input. So we're going to call it, it's going to be assigned to user input. Doing this won't override it because it's already been included in an argument in that. So it'll already have a value. So I'm going to go int code, int selection. Now this is where we get into the real meat of the tutorial when it comes down to it. I'm going to put return 0 down here because it probably won't run down here. So this is what we have. So this is our switch statement. And what this switch statement does is it acts as a very, I'd say it is probably just a very good way of condensing if statements if you're doing the same thing over again, over and over again. So like for example, if you're writing a game and you, for example, have to write user movement code, like you have to handle the keys, like if you want your guy to press the up arrow and to go up, if you're doing very repetitive code that doesn't need to be placed in if or else statements without looking incredibly ugly, you can use these. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go case 1. Because this is an integer, you use just the base integer, so we just type number 1. If we were using something like a character, we'd just do this and it would work, because that would just represent the ASCII value of it. I'm going to print f. I should really move my mouse. And we're going to return 2. Now what you might be wondering with regard to this is why the hell have I made it return 2 if they've inputted 1? Why would I do that? Because the idea of this function is to return a different value to what is inputted, and I decided 2 would probably be the most logical step since you just add 1. Now, at the end of every single case statement, you put this. It is a break, if I can type. So what this does here is, since there is a load of if statements and there are no brackets, as you noticed up here, there is a colon, which is also known as a label, but we break this colon here, so it will jump to this if the case is 1, and it will break our statement there and end the switch statement when that happens. So then we're going to basically do a couple more. I'm going to print all of their input, wait, not capital P, print F. I'm going to just do this once. 3. And finally, we have something called default. Now this is essentially an else, and that's basically what it is. Print. Oh, I've got break up there. Anybody who's yelling at the screen about that, I'm sorry, because I know I do it. And for those who don't Don't judge me as weird. Nothing worse than being viewed as weird. Something. And let's so just return a value here. Now, no, you don't put a break here because this is the final statement, so there's no need for it. And it's also a default, and I've encountered errors when that's happened. So let's see what our code will be now. So printf, put a percentage %d there. I swear, there's nothing worse than a bloody laptop keyboard for programming. I found Dell keyboards that are better at programming than this. So this is our complete program. We're going to complete with our thing here, and we're going to save it as we always do, and then we're going to compile it. Please work, please work. Switch. Yep, that's compiled. So let's type in 1. You typed 1. Now that should be, in fact, the output of I think it might be because I returned a value inside of a switch statement. Yes. So what's you see, you can't mix them up. The reason I was dopey, sorry, but what I did was I put the ampersand on the end. So what it in fact did was it printed the base 10 user address of user input rather than the number we wanted. So I suppose the best way to learn is by watching other people's errors. So hopefully you've learned a lot there. In other words, don't put a bloody ampersand on the end, alright? So it should work now. Let's type in 1. See? Now that works. Let's type in 2, we should get 3. And if we type just 51, we will get 1. So that is proof that works. Now, this is going to be the task that you have roughly however long you like to do, and your idea is you're going to write the most basic text game you can write. Like what I'm saying is that I won't accept entries that use anything more advanced than this. So in other words, no cutting the bloody queue. So what you're going to do is you're going to write a text game, anything you want, anything you like. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's alright if you go and research the standard functions. So you can go on to C programming, I think it's called .com, and there's various other. Oh, that's it. There's something called C++.com, which has a reference to all of the C functions that you could possibly ever want. So yeah, watch that. So read some of that, find the ones that you want, and start writing games. Now, when you've done that game, and once you've compiled it and seen that it's worked, because I won't be mucking around with any code that doesn't work, you can obviously ask me for help in the comments. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And what you're going to do is you're going to send me the source code, either in a zip file, or if you're using multiple files, which I doubt you will be, because I haven't taught you anything about doing that. So basically, you're going to be sending me the C file, main.c file, alright? And I can have a look at that code, and I can understand that. Send it to gigarama@gmail.com, and basically you have a week from now. In fact, maybe 3 months. Let's give it 3 months, because I want as many applicants as I can, and I don't want to be spammed at the same time. So, thank you everybody. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and thank you for watching.